Hey, welcome back to the How to Podcast series. It's Dave. You doing good? I hope you're doing great. Right? Welcome to the podcast. So, the question of the month. We've been doing this now. This is our second time out. We had some great responses for May. It's June. We talked a little bit about this at the beginning of June, about the question of the month for June. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do a little mid-month refresh to remind you that there's a question of the month for June, and I would love to hear your response. We have a question out into the podcasting universe, and it's in your ears right now, and it's time for you to act. So I'm asking you to take action, everyone. It's a call to action, aka a CTA, which saves us like a microsecond if we make it an acronym. So a CTA for you to be a part of this show. Now, how do I do this, Dave? How do I become part of the show? Do I have to sign a waiver? Do I have to do something? Do I have to... No. All you have to do is answer the question, which is simply, how many podcast episodes do you consume per week? As a listener, what's your average? 3? 1? 283? I don't know. And I'd like to hear, because I want to increase the engagement with podcasts as a listener. And I think you as a podcaster should be an active community member and participating in listening to other podcasts. You help feed the podcast community by being a consumer of podcasts. So I'm here to encourage you to do more and support your fellow podcasters like the ones you're going to hear about in the responses at the end of this month. We're going to have people responding all month. They're coming in already. And I'm even incorporating them into my interviews so that I can capture guest co-host responses to this question of the month while we're recording. So you'll hear some interesting feedback, some interesting thoughts around how many podcast episodes that my guests and the listeners of the show consume per week. If you want people to listen to your show, and who doesn't, then leave your response to the question of the month at HowToPodcast.ca. There's a SpeakPipe link. It's super simple. You're a podcaster. You're good talking. You're a good talker person, right? Yeah. Grammar is not my thing at the moment. My coffee hasn't kicked in. I would love to get your response to the question of the month. Dave, the question of the month is simply, how many podcast episodes do I consume per month? When you call in through the SpeakPipe link, I want you to leave me a message. And here's what I want to hear. Your name, the name of your show, right? So we can listen to it. And then answer the question. How many podcast episodes do you consume per week? Okay, that's an average. I don't need like your full history of podcast listening. I just need an average. What's your number? And I want to compare them and let other people know. And I want you to promote your podcast, because then more people will come and listen to your show. You're talking to people who listen to podcasts and they would love to hear you. So I'm going to give you an example of what I'm looking for, just so you have a point of reference. I did one silly one at the beginning, but I'll give you a real one from a listener, just so you know. This is what Dave's asking for. Oh, I get it now. Dave asking me to do the thing. Yeah, I'm asking you to do the thing. Can you do the thing? I know you're good at doing the thing. It's simple. Just respond to the podcast question of the month over at HowToPodcast.ca. I would love to hear your response and put you into a combined episode with everyone else who responds. I want to grow this thing as a way of advertising your podcast. Truthfully, if we can just take a little side thing here, it's really not about the question of the month. Really, it isn't. It's more about you. I want people to fall in love with you and listen to your show. The question of the month is just an excuse to hear from you and have people find out about your amazing podcast. So don't tell anyone. That's our little secret between you and me. The question of the month is really not that big of a deal. I want to hear from you, and I want people to come and listen to your show. I want to listen to your show. And I won't know about your show unless you tell me. And remember, you do not have because you do not ask. So come on the show. Ask people to listen to your podcast and answer the question of the month. How many podcast episodes do you, as a listener of podcasts, how many do you listen to per week? Right? I told you, mine's around 50. a week. That's crazy. That's a lot of podcasts. And I want to add your podcast to my list of podcasts that I go to every week. So simply answer the question of the month, and I will be there and we'll promote you here on the How to Podcast series. Sound good? I think you're going to like the results. So go there today. You have until the end of the month. I would like to get all my answers in by the 28th of June, which is a Friday, which will give me a couple days to put everything together, and I'll release it on July 1st as a new episode for you. And you can hear your lovely voice right here on the How to Podcast series. Does that sound good to you? I think that sounds quite good. I want you to go to a mirror, look at it, and go, don't forget to do the question of the month for Dave. Put a little sticky note somewhere, right? Put it with your keys by the front door, wherever you look, to remind yourself. On the fridge, right beside the list, you need lettuce, tomatoes, some bread. Don't forget the milk, and leave Dave a message for the question of the month. Okay, here's an example, and I want you to hear this response from one of our great listeners of the podcast. You ready? Here's a good example of what we're looking for. Here you go.
Hi, Dave. This is Jason from the I Shower After Work podcast. Wanted to say thanks again for everything you're doing. You've been a big help to us. I'm sure you're still being a big help to all other future and current podcasters. Your question of the month: how many podcasts do I listen to? I'm in a unique position because I work in a service van, so 90% of the time I'm by myself. I figure on a weekly basis, I'm listening to at least 6 to 7 hours a day, averaging across about 30 to 35 different podcasts, yours included, of course. I'm sure I'm the high watermark for this, but I just wanted to send in a message on the SpeakPipe and let you know that's where I'm at. Hope you're having a great day. Keep up the good work. Thanks again for everything you do, Dave.
So there you go. To follow Jason's lead, go over to HowToPodcast.ca and leave your SpeakPipe message. Have your say and leave your message at HowToPodcast.ca. Oh, that rhymed. Have a great day, everyone. Can't wait to hear your voice. Cheers.